As many of you know, the crypto market over the last week has honestly not been that fun. We saw things like Solana getting crushed. We saw most altcoins falling. We saw everyone upset, people getting liquidated. I mean, things were not very good. But I told you all, listen, just like that, some things can start shifting and some things can start changing that will change the overall sentiment of the market. And we're not to that point yet to where I can say that we're just out of the woods and that things won't just go back to being bearish. But if you've been looking at crypto today, I'm sure you've noticed that things are actually looking somewhat positive. You got things like Bitcoin back at 97,000, you got ETH at 2,700, and things aren't looking too bad. You got some altcoins like S and SEI and Python, many more, seeing some gains, and people are starting to feel a little more optimistic, at least in the short term. Now, I don't really get too caught up in these short-term movements because one day you can be bearish and one day you can be bullish. I don't really care about the short-term sentiment, but what I do care about is what is happening within that short-term sentiment and how that may impact long-term sentiment. Now, what I mean by that is, people can flip-flop all they want. They can be excited and scared and excited and scared. That doesn't really bother me. What I care more about is what they do in response to these emotions. Now, in response to the emotions that we're seeing today, something actually very, very important is happening. What we're seeing on a day like today, while everyone's getting a little excited and optimistic about the market, is so important that I would be willing to say it may impact the way the rest of this month, maybe even the rest of this quarter looks for the world of crypto. Now, I know that's a big statement, but if you give me this video, I'm going to explain to you exactly what is happening, why it's so important, and what I'm doing as a result of it. And so with that said, we have a lot to unpack today, so let's not waste any more time at all, and let's get straight into it. Now, what we can see is that the crypto market has been looking pretty dang on good today, as I mentioned to you before. Matter of fact, if we just head over to CoinMarketCap, you can see it. Bitcoin pushing up a little bit, ETH pushing up a little bit, XRP pushing up a little bit. Not obviously a fantastic day, and I'm not going to even go as far as to call this a pump, but it is a decent day here in the crypto market. Looking at some of your mid caps, you can see things like Pyth, Bera, Dexy, Near, S, and Tia absolutely smashing it. Not only just strong on the day, but even strong on the week, putting in some sizable gains anywhere from 30 to up to 90%, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, while this has been happening, I've been paying very close attention to the way in which this growth is happening. And I'm trying not to overcomplicate this too much, but I'm paying attention to the way in which this growth is happening. Why are these specific cryptos all pumping, and what does that mean for crypto? Right? Because sometimes in the world of crypto, you'll have these moments where just everything pumps. And that's rather normal. You see that rather frequently on green days. But that's not really what we're seeing right now. We are seeing some of these very specific cryptos doing substantially better than the rest. And there's a reason why. Now, what sparked all of this off was the fact that Donald Trump's team went in and they bought some SEI. Well, not his team particularly, but a company that he is one of the owners of, which is World Liberty Financial. They bought some SEI. And as you can see here, they spent $125,000 just earlier today picking up some SEI. Now, if you don't know what SEI is, quite simply what it is the first sector-specific Layer 1 blockchain specialized for trading to give exchanges an unfair advantage. But at its core, without getting all complicated, it's just a Layer 1. Now, you may wonder, well, who cares? Like, what does that have to do with the rest of the market? Well, in response to this, the fact that his team went out and they bought that, many people started speculating. Why did they go and just buy somewhat of a random Layer 1? Now, I'm not going to go and say fully random. I mean, people know what SEI is, but if we're being realistic, it's not even in the top 50 right now. So why would Donald Trump's team go and buy a Layer 1? And this started sparking the minds of people. What is happening? What's going on in crypto? And I think this purchase from Donald Trump's team, and I'm going to just kind of warn you, I don't know why they did it. I would just assume they like it. That's not the point. But as a result of his team buying it, it sparked something that needed to happen. It sparked something that needed to happen. Tyler, what did it spark? Well, if you look now at these cryptos that are pumping, you'll start to notice something. Every single one, or at least 90% of the ones that are pumping right now are Layer 1s. And by Donald Trump's team buying SEI, it sparked other people to start purchasing other Layer 1s. You have things like the S token, you have things like Bera, you have things like IP, you have many more doing very, very well. And what I believe is happening is that this may have been one of the most important catalysts that we were going to have seen, especially within this month, because there was not a lot going on, right? So some of these micro catalysts are actually very important. And what I believe is now happening is that this has been the thing, right? That little catalyst that you would need to see in order to get people's minds right. Because quite frankly, the reason this is so important is that people are tired of meme coins, guys. Meme coins have been killing the market, especially Solana meme coins. It's been draining a lot of liquidity from retail investors, and people are just over it. You got celebrity memes, you got terrible memes, you got pump fund memes. I mean, you got memes just everywhere, destroying people. And people were quite simply just tired of it. Even Trump's meme and Melania's meme and the Argentina meme, I mean, it just goes so deep. People are so over it. But what it seems like is this may be the natural transition and the natural pivot now that people are tired of meme coins back to utilities. Because what you need to understand is historically, the natural flow of a crypto bull market will go from utility tokens down to memes and then reset. So at the beginning stages, you start with utilities, and utility coins are the ones that are pumping like crazy. And then all of that liquidity over time will drain into some of your meme coins, and then the cycle will end, and then it will reset. And what I'm under the belief of is that this may have been one of the first mini catalysts that will get people's minds back in the right place. This may have been one of the first catalysts that will actually show people, hey, listen, the crypto market isn't all about meme coins. There are other things out there that are valuable that can bring gains, such as IP, such as Bera, such as such as SEI. And that's what we need to show people. If you want retail to have an impact in this market, they can't just keep getting drained of all their money in meme coins. You can't have every retail investor just buying every single meme coin, losing 90%, because quite frankly, you will run out of retail liquidity. That's just what will happen. But oftentimes, these sorts of cryptos are the ones that can sustain. You have your S tokens and your SEIs and your IPs, right? These are the ones that can last. These are the ones that can make a difference over a long term because they provide actual value to the crypto market. And I'm under the belief that what we saw with Trump's company, World Liberty Financial, could be what finally starts the ball, right? The snowball for retail investors to get back into utility, because utility is what will carry you through a bull market. Now, Tyler, does this mean that the bull market is back for sure? Not so fast, okay? We're not going to go that far, and we're not going to say that it's back for sure. But what I will say is this could at least be the beginning stages of it. And if we get the right confirmations, if we do finally start to see some of these things transpiring correctly, it could be the beginning of a new shift or a new direction, at least in the short term, here in the crypto market. Now, I know what you may be wondering. Tyler, what are some of these things that need to happen? What are some of these confirmations that need to happen in the crypto market to say that we are back in a bull market? Well, let's go ahead and let's actually change gears a little bit, and let's look at some of the technicals, because that's where these confirmations lie. Now, look, I know when I go over technicals, it may get a little bit complicated. What I will let you know is I did actually go ahead just yesterday and create a free beginner's guide for crypto. For those of you who don't really know what I'm talking about, who don't know how technical analysis works, doesn't even really know what you're looking at, there's a free guide for you, and I want you to go download it, check it out, read through it, and then come back to this video, because it'll make what I'm about to talk about a lot easier to understand. So the link is down below. It's just a free guide. It's about 10, 12 pages long. Go check it out and then come back to this video. Now, looking at Bitcoin. Okay, let's look at Bitcoin here. Let's focus in on Bitcoin because Bitcoin leads the market. Remember that. Everybody's looking at altcoins. Everybody's looking at ETH. Everyone's looking at Solana. But remember, we are still at the mercy of Bitcoin. As long as Bitcoin is up, we are in a bull market. The moment Bitcoin starts creating market canceling structure, that means this bull market is over. We are not in an altcoin season. We are not in an altcoin-led market. We are not even in an altcoin-dominated market right now. Bitcoin is still very much so in charge, and we need to watch it closely. And if we do look at what Bitcoin is doing right now, you can actually see that it's somewhat positive. You know, if we kind of just look at the general structure, okay, what is happening right here? Boom. We have this, we have this, we have this. What you can see is we have a ton of support that has been consistently building up, not just over the last couple of days, but for months, guys. I mean, if you look at what happened right here, you look at what happened right here, what happened right here, what happened right here, we have consistently been building support for Bitcoin between that $89,000 to $94,000 level. And what you can see is that over the last couple of days, Bitcoin is trying to use that support. Bitcoin came back down to this general range, right? This bottom side support level, and it is trying to sustain that and use this support to try to push its way back upwards. And so, no, we can't go ahead and say that the bull market is back. Of course, we cannot say that because Bitcoin is still trying to hold some support right now. But I'm under the belief that if Bitcoin can successfully hold this support right here, if it can continue to see these bulls stepping in and injecting this liquidity, we have all the room in the world to make this happen. I mean, you look at the RSI, we're still below 50. That opens up all this room up here for Bitcoin to be able to push higher. You look at something like your Bollinger Bands have more than enough room to push upwards. I mean, we're still below the 20 simple moving average. We haven't even cleared any of the important levels yet, so there obviously is a lot more room to run and a lot more potential to the upside. And so if I'm looking at Bitcoin right now, I'm looking at two key confirmations first. There's like 7 of them, but let's just start with 2. If we see these 2 things happen, I will start to get more optimistic about what the short term for crypto looks like. Mid to long term, I'm still bullish. I'm not really worried about that. But short term, these are the 2 confirmations that will get me back towards something more of a more optimistic outlook. Okay. The first thing that I want to see is Bitcoin's price break $98,835. Reasoning, very simple. We need to see it clear this. We need to see a more micro higher high. See how we put in this high right here? We want to see Bitcoin set a higher high than that. Very simple. The second thing that I want to see, which will happen around the same exact time, is I want to see Bitcoin get this close above the 20-day simple moving average. Historically, when Bitcoin has been within what's called an HMZ or a high manipulation zone, but put very simply, when it's in a sideways moment like this, when Bitcoin can finally clear this 20 simple moving average, it usually opens up to the upside. It usually will give you a strong run upwards. Look what happened right here when we broke above that 20 SMA, which is this orange line. Look what happened right here when we broke above that 20 SMA. Look what happened, I guess those are the only 2 times that, 2 or 3 times that it happened. We had it happen right there, we had it happen right there, and we failed to do it right here. So do you see, especially with this example, why it's so important? Because in this moment where we came up to it and got rejected, we immediately just fell back towards $92,000. And I don't want to see that happen right here. And that's why I'm adamant that I want to see us break this before I get too excited. Because I know how this market works. One minute you can be all excited and happy and joyous, and then the next minute you're getting liquidated and everyone's pissed off on Twitter, right? So I'm not getting caught up in this whole short-term emotional stuff. What I'm looking at is, okay, can we break that 20 SMA and give us that bullish confirmation in the short term? And can we come back up and can we clear that $98,800 level in order to set that new micro higher high? If we can do those 2 things, then I'm actually going to get much more optimistic. Almost to the point where I start looking at thinking, okay, do I start, considering some leverage trading again, right? Do I start doing some buys? Do I start buying with stop losses, trailing stop losses, right? I might actually start making some moves as a result of that. Now, you all know I'm not going to go too far with it, and I'm not going to do that much because, again, as I mentioned earlier, we are still in what's called an HMZ. And an HMZ is quite simply when you enter into a period that looks just like this, where you go up and down and up and down, and you liquidate everybody in the process. And I've told you all, I'm not doing anything really while we're in between these 2 blue lines. But if I do start getting a little optimistic, and if I do start thinking the market's going to make a run upwards, maybe I do some small positions. Maybe I do some small pivots. Maybe I start making some little micro moves and saving still all that cash for when we finally get out of that. But more, I'm not really worried about those small plays and small moves. I'm more thinking about what sort of impacts it can have on the long term, which does imply, right? Maybe while everyone's been mad and everybody's been scared, but all of the wells are accumulating, maybe if we do finally start to see people entering into the market from a healthy perspective, focusing on utility, focusing on layer 1s, Bitcoin breaking above some of these highs and give us confirmations, maybe it does open the door for Bitcoin to try to make another run to the upside, right? That's the long-term impact that I'm thinking about right now. And so I'm trying not to get too far ahead of myself. I don't want to get too excited right now because, quite frankly, we've not seen enough movement from Bitcoin to justify any optimism, but I do think, or any major optimism, but I do think it is enough to at least pay attention to. And I think the signs that we are seeing from the market right now, seeing them getting so deeply into some of these layer 1s and utility tokens, I think is a very good sign. And again, it could imply that maybe we're finally back on track. And maybe we're going to see this market continue in a healthy manner. As I said here, it's a great sign for the health of the crypto market. And that's what's so important. And so with that in mind, that's the major signal. That's the major sign that I've been looking at today. And I do think it's very important. I will let you know, if you guys do want to start doing some trading yourself today, you can, of course, sign up on BTCC. This is where I have been doing a lot of TA and trading and stuff at. This is the platform right here. Very smooth, very simple. And you can get a 10% bonus on all first time deposits, meaning between $500 and $100,000, meaning if you deposit, say, $3,000, they'll give you $300 back to start trading with today. And in addition to that, if you do want to access some more thoughts and insights insights from me. For example, I did buy the S token at 64 cents. And if we go look at it today, it is currently at 81 cents. So we're seeing some sizable gains on that. If you do want insights with me on what I'm buying, what changes I'm making in my portfolios, and much more, as well as much more like courses, classes, one-on-one coaching, a live stream, and all that good stuff, head to the link down below. And you can check out, of course, my Patreon, which you can sign up for a couple different options. So check all that stuff out down below. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at TylerHillYT. And if you are new to this world of crypto, don't forget to go get your free beginner's crypto guide, which is available for you down there. But let me know in the comment section, how are you feeling? Are you feeling a little bit better? Are you feeling worse? Do you think this is a bull trap? Do you think that this is the beginning of another bullish move? What are you expecting? What are you thinking? I'll chat with you all down there, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out, everybody.